You are watching the Notre Dame Recruiting Update each and every Friday. Mike Singer, Trey Kennedy back with you to talk some Notre Dame football. Recruiting, big month of June, of course, as we continue to creep through it. Can you believe it? The 23rd, already getting to the end of this wild stretch here in recruiting and Notre Dame recruiting. And apologies, it's 12:04. We usually start the show at 12, but we wanted to make it like the 1979 Who concert in Cincinnati. Although we are going to open the doors. Doors are open now, so thank you all for coming in and being with us today. Hit that like button as we get the show started. Let us know where you're watching from in the comments section as well. And, to comment, Mike, you have to be a subscriber. So we have to subscribe. It's just going to help us out, help our page grow, help us get this show to more Notre Dame fans like you. Mike, it's been a quick month here, man. A lot of fun recruiting going on here, but can you believe we're almost at the end of this thing?
It's flown by. I'm going to push back on you saying it's 12:04. I'm saying 1:04.
True.
I feel like you go based on, I know you're in Central Time, and many Notre Dame fans are. That's the best thing about Notre Dame fans is they're spread out across the country. You get so many different locations, so many different backgrounds. It's a true melting pot. And I love that. But you go based off of the time zone of the school. That's what I've always done. I used to cover, some Pac-12 schools on the West Coast, and that was nice because, as a night owl, that was a perfect setup for me. I could stay up till 4 in and then wake up at like 11, but it's only 8 a.m. out on the West Coast. But that was in my early 20s. I'm approaching 30 now, but dude, as far as the week, like the month and this week. Flown by. This week has just gone by so fast that I'm like, is it really Friday? Between the recruiting weekends, the camps, it's just been nonstop. But unless Notre Dame's pulling a fast one, no official visitors this weekend. They kind of are I think the staff is probably taking some vacay time, before camp starts at the end of July. So one of my biggest kind of sayings, Trey, I think what people might know me most for is, my follow the visits thing that I always say. The next is June official visits lead to July commitments. So I think July might be a hot month for Notre Dame. But also June, I put the over under at 5.5 commitments. Notre Dame's at 4 right now. And I should say I set that over under when they were already at 3. They hit 4 with Nate Roberts. They could hit 5 this weekend with a player we'll talk about here in a minute. And then could they get to 6 by the end of the month? It will be interesting.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. And I want to find a way to make that rhyme, too, at some point with the June-July thing there. But I like it. There's got to be something there. We got Pawnee, Illinois, joining us today. It's Brian Kelly's accent.
Hey, shout out to Pawnee. I'm more of a Pawnee, Indiana guy. Shout out to Parks and Rec, but Pawnee, Illinois, I'm sure is a beautiful place.
Great place there. We got Weatherford, Texas joining us as well. I got a good buddy that used to play at Weatherford Community College, played baseball there. So shout out Weatherford. We got Napoleon, Ohio. That's quite the name. And we got some Irish in the house as well. Thank you all for joining us. Been a fun month. Got a fun show today. Going to kind of break it all down. And yes, David, hopefully we got some good news for you on the rundown here. Mike, as we get into the show today, let's talk about Tay Johnson a little bit. Upcoming decision here. Your thoughts on what he's thinking at this point?
Yeah, so Tay Johnson, the 4-star, is listed as an athlete, and I think that's fair because he is, such a dynamic wide receiver, as well as a safety prospect. Announcing, I believe it's 10 a.m. Saturday, and my read is actually the 3 schools on the RPM at the top there: Notre Dame, Purdue, Tennessee. I really think it's Notre Dame or Purdue, though. I know the Boilermakers had done a really good job in his recruitment. Visited there twice this year. But when you follow the visits, and then you can even follow those official visits, I think he was scheduled to go to Purdue. I want to say it was this weekend. I don't think that visit's taken place. So, this one seems pretty cut and dry that you would expect Notre Dame to land him. Ranked as the number 164 overall player, the number 5 athlete per the the On3 industry ranking. And we'll go through in a minute, Trey. After this, we'll hear from My Perfect Franchise, and we'll get into the kind of the safety board. But I did want to give my thoughts on this real quick. People are down on Chris O'Leary, and every year since I've started covering Notre Dame, there's always a coach on the Notre Dame staff that the fans just roast. There always is. The 2019 season, you guys would have to let me know, because I'm kind of drawing a blank on who that might have been. I don't think it would have been Dal Alexander at that point. Probably maybe like Terry Joseph, the former safeties coach. But 2020, it's Jeff Quinn. Then the next year it's Dale Alexander. Who it would have been on this past staff in 2022. Again, you guys can let me know in the comments. But it's definitely Chris O'Leary right now. I mean, people are down on Chris O'Leary. And listen, I get that Notre Dame hasn't just landed these elite safety talents. But the guy we're watching on film right here, Tay Johnson, as the number 164 player, and again, he's listed as an athlete, number 5 athlete in the country, and I get why he's listed as an athlete. It's Junior Tape's receiver, right? Notre Dame prefers him as a safety, though. I mean, 6'370 pounds, which actually should probably be updated. I'm told he's up to 180. Notre Dame was really excited about how he checked in on his visit, physically speaking. 6'3", 180-pound receivers grow on trees. They just do. They're everywhere. But a safety, if you're 6'3", 180 pounds and you play safety at a high level, you're a lot more valuable than those receivers. Not that they're talented receivers are obviously very valuable, but these guys at safety are very hard to find. A lot of those guys who are receivers like that can't play safety. Tay Johnson can. So going back to my rankings point, if Tay Johnson commits to Notre Dame and signs with the Fighting Irish at the end of the year, he would be the highest ranked safety commit. Just again, according to a national ranking of 164, highest ranked since Kyle Hamilton. So for how down we are right now on Chris O'Leary, you're about to get, the highest ranked safety commit since Kyle Hamilton. It's not too bad. So a safety class potentially of Tay Johnson, Brian Urlacher's son. It's not too bad. And Tabron Benny Powell, I get it. He's not very highly ranked. It's a projection by Notre Dame. I mean, the kid didn't even play safety last year because they had Ben Minnick and Malik Hartford, Notre Dame and Ohio State guys in their secondary at Lakota West. I mean, the guy looks good on film, in that kind of rover position. And we'll see how he develops as a senior. And I think we'll get a better idea by the end of the year if that's a good take for Notre Dame or not. A better idea. You don't get a complete picture until the kid actually enrolls on campus and starts practice and whatnot. But overall, safety recruiting, I'm not as down on it as you guys are. That's kind of my thought on this potential safety class. Tay Johnson is an outstanding athlete. Shout out to him. It seemed like Notre Dame in Johnson kind of cooled off, maybe a few months ago. But this young man put in the work, to be in this position, to be a player who Notre Dame was able to take a commitment from. So shout out to him. Outstanding young man. I've always enjoyed my interactions with him and looking forward to seeing what he decides tomorrow.
Yeah, great kid. Growing as well here. Hard to go backwards, but could be an excellent safety in this group here. Got to talk about our guy Andy in just a minute, but Andrew Gilmore with the super chat. Thank you, Andrew, for that super chat. You're high on. I don't want to say high, but you are higher maybe on the safety class than most. Isaiah Canyon, is he an insurance policy within this group here?
I think if you sat down with Chancey Stuckey, Andrew, and you said, hey, you asked him this question, I think he would tell you to kick rocks and tell Chris O'Leary to stay far away from Isaiah Canyon. Notre Dame's plan is wide receiver all the way. He definitely, looks good at defensive back on his junior tape, but He's a receiver for Notre Dame. Now, to answer your question, could Isaiah Canyon? Yeah, he could for sure. But again, it's fully a it's fully a receiver take for the Irish.
Yeah, talented player there. A lot more to talk about here as we move through this, Mike. But I know you're a Liverpool fan, right?
That's correct.
Do you want them to be a bad franchise? An okay franchise? Good?
Club, but I would like it to be perfect even.
How about a perfect franchise? I
Yeah.
think that's what we all want. I think that's what you want for your business. If you're a young professional, if you are a young entrepreneur, if you are growing a business and you want it to be perfect, you're going to have to visit our friends at myperfectfranchise.net. Our guy, Andy Ludicky, going to get you hooked up. He is a business professional, business veteran at this point is what they're calling him. And not just that, he's a college sports fan. And his big thing, well, he's high on the American dream, like we all should be. He's going to help you achieve that, going to help you get there. myperfectfranchise.net. Put your career in your hands, guys. There's no reason to put it in somebody else's hands. And when you do that, you're going to watch your business swell and grow. If you're an entrepreneur, things haven't been going right, maybe you'd even consider yourself a displaced corporate executive. That's the last time I'll say those words today. Andy Ledecky's your guy. He's going to help you out. myperfectfranchise.net. Call Andy, guys. Services are 100% free. There's absolutely nothing to lose here. myperfectfranchise.net. It says call. I don't see a phone number on here, so just go to myperfectfranchise.net. It's that easy, and you'll have that perfect franchise. Like we can only hope Liverpool is striving for each and every day. Mike, let's keep it moving here, and thanks for all the comments, guys. Keep hitting that like button. We're at 100 right now. Let's get to 100 likes.
Yeah,
or 100 views.
It's easy.
Yeah, it is. It's literally one click.
Andrew, thank you for the super chat, buddy.
Yes, big shout out. That helps us a lot here, Blue and Gold. But this safety class looking to help the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in 2024. As we look at the board, just your overall outlook on this. We kind of touched on it there, talking about Tay Johnson and Isaiah Canyon, but just your outlook on the board in general.
Yeah, again, feel pretty confident that Canyon he's just a receiver. Again, insurance policy, sure. We've seen receivers flip to safety before, or just defensive back in general. Cam Hart, obviously Xavier Watts. But in terms of the safety outlook, and I did a huge in-depth article at blueandgold.com yesterday. I had it actually scheduled to post at 11 a.m. and I didn't get to publish it until 5 p.m. It was a lot more of it was a lot longer of an article. It's like 1,400 words than it was a lot longer than I expected.
It's an essay.
I kind of ran through like, how did we get here and what's next? So we'll talk about the what's next, but I definitely encourage people to go check that article out. So 3 safeties has kind of been the target for Notre Dame, at least from what I've gathered. And you have the 2 committed already with Urlacher and Benny Powell. So then you hope to get Tay Johnson Saturday, right? Now the question immediately becomes, well, what about Malcolm Ziegler? This 4-star safety on 3 loves him, top 100 player in the country. One of those, I think we talked about in last week's show, one of these rankings that just totally vary. On 3 is a top 100 player. The other website says one with 3-star. Say what you want about On 3, but the guys don't like. I don't know if I want to go on a rankings tangent. I keep telling myself, just stop talking about rankings, Mike. You just get yourself into trouble.
Well, you have the floor.
I do have the floor. This show's called the Notre. My name's in the show. I get to say what I want. Damn it. But say what you want about On 3's rankings. They don't care about what the other rankings will say about a player. I've worked at the other place. I've seen how the sausage gets made. I prefer On 3, even if they don't rank CJ Carr the highest. And I totally disagree. I still respect. I very much respect the guys that On 3 in the rankings job they do. And I know people will just say, Mike, you're a company man. I promise you, if I didn't feel like this, I would just keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
There might be.
It's a Notre Dame man at heart.
There's some things that I might not absolutely be fired up about, and I just don't talk about them. But the other, I will speak my mind on something I feel strongly about. So there you guys go. Okay. Malcolm Ziegler, thing about him, and I even asked him about this when I spoke to him maybe I think it was Tuesday night after our live show, I did an interview with him, and I asked him, hey, Notre Dame's got a safety commit. I'm pretty sure they're getting one tomorrow. Tabron Benny Powell might get one Saturday. Tate Johnson, like, do you talk to them about, like, hey, where the board sits? Because, again, Ziegler was just on campus this past weekend. And he said, I also play cornerback. So, I could, I kind of have that flexibility. So this is going to be an interesting one. He goes to North Carolina this weekend. They're the RPM leader. That pecking order between 1 and 2, I don't know. I think Notre Dame's probably in the third spot in terms of just likelihood. I don't think he's going to end up with the Fighting Irish. I would peg him to stay in the Carolinas. That's Malcolm Ziegler, a top 100 player. Oliver Miles hasn't eliminated Notre Dame, but I think I think Notre Dame's kind of moved on. They're the RPM leader, but I'm getting the feeling that again, Notre Dame's safety board, if you get Tate Johnson, I think they have their 3. So as much as Notre Dame loves Oliver Miles, again, I'm just kind of getting the sense that they filled up. The exception being Davis Andrews, as we've talked about before, is taking a Mormon mission trip at the end of this year, maybe January. He goes on a 2-year trip. We've seen Notre Dame players do this in the past. So if he picks Notre Dame, he goes on a 2-year trip, would come back in January 2026, or is it December 25? Can't remember. And then starts his Notre Dame career. I believe he's young for his grades, so he would, he wouldn't be like a 22-year-old true freshman or 21. I think he'd be 19, going on 20, or about to turn 20, I should say. So this actually, I think this could do him some good there in that department. So yeah, this is kind of like a super low risk, no risk, high reward type move for Notre Dame. I mean, again, how many of these coaches on the Notre Dame staff are even going to be here in 2026? I guess, these guys are just recruiting for some of the next assistant coaches, but yeah, I like Notre Dame to land him. But the thing is, Davis Andrews can commit to Notre Dame and sign a ceremonial letter of intent. But then when he comes back from his mission trip, he could just go to BYU or Utah, which is what a lot of guys do. So, again, if Notre Dame looks a whole lot different in 2 years, Davis Andrews probably doesn't come back to Notre Dame. Like Kanu Kia played his freshman year at Notre Dame, then took his 2-year trip. I think he comes back in January as well. So that'll be interesting to see if he does indeed make it. The last time I had checked, he was. So you're looking at 3 safeties, and then it's like a 3+1 if Davis Andrews was once in.
Do you think that affects them at all, just being away from the game of football for that long?
It's a good question. They need to stay fit. You can't come back a slob, right? You can't go put on 30 pounds like Mike Singer probably would, and has. But I think they would be okay. I think you'd be okay if you're staying fit. I mean, you can forget how to play football. It's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
I think they'd be okay.
And football probably more so than other sports. If you don't shoot a basketball for X amount of time, it probably affects you to an extent.
I think football's more like riding a bike. Football, soccer, like golf, tennis, basketball. Yeah, good luck. Baseball, good luck. I think football is so much more just like, IQ, and athleticism.
And just aggression too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I think as long as you don't forget, the rules of football, I think he'll be okay. I don't think scheme and, like those different things, you're not forgetting that. So, and I'm sure he'll be able to, keep fresh on, I don't know on those trips, how much they're able to kind of keep up to date on what's going on in modern football, but I'm sure somewhat. So yeah, I don't think it would be too big of a deal.
Yeah, hopefully they're able to keep up at least a little bit. If you had left, pre-2021, come back now, things have changed a lot. But going to be excited to follow that recruitment and, kind of see how that works out in the long run. And good luck on his mission there as well.
Yeah.
On a separate mission, guys, make it your mission to go check out Augie's Locker Room. South Bend Avenue is where you're going to find them, and augieslockerroom.com, of course, as well. Augie has it all. I mean, there's no collection like the collection that Augie has built up. Notre Dame Stadium pieces, jerseys, helmets, autographs, one-of-a-kind Rockney items. They got miniature sculptures. They have helmets. They have banners, flags. I'm reading the ad right now, so I can't look at the screen, but I'm assuming there's all kinds of cool collectibles up there.
Yeah.
Game programs, everything, guys. Augie's got it. And if he doesn't have it, he's going to go out and he's going to find it for you. 574-277-INDY. Or you can go check them out. 1811 South Bend Avenue, augieslockerroom.com. They have a helmet display there, guys, that dates back all the way to 1890. That's a pretty long time. Before the invention of what we consider the modern game even. You can find helmets from that era. You can find bobbleheads, gifts, something to complete that man cave, that rec room. Augie's got it. All kinds of cool stuff there. I'm back on this page now. I see you highlighting that glove, Mike. Very cool stuff.
Dre, how many times did I talk about someone needs to pick up this Zibby signed box?
Is it still available?
No, it's sold out. Listen, if one of our viewers is the one who purchased this, please let me know and let Augie know that, hey, I bought this from seeing Mike Singer show at Blue and Gold. That would make me happy because I think I talked about this. I've talked about this literally every week we've had a show.
Well, honestly, if you've gotten anything from Augie's Locker Room since you started watching the show, let us know. It's cool. If you picked up
tweet me, email me, Pinterest me, MySpace, just let me know.
You got a burner, Mike? Can they hit you up on the burner?
Yeah. What's that?
You got a burner Twitter account they can find you at, or
maybe?
Mike may have a burner, but he's keeping you updated with all things Notre Dame football on his personal Twitter and, of course, at blueandgold.com as well. So go check us out there. A little bit more to talk about here, Mike. Somewhat of a shorter show today. Maybe some time for some questions at the end. So get those questions in for us if you want to ask anything going on with this crazy month of June. But before we get to that, let's talk about Caleb Beasley a little bit. Tennessee commit, really talented cornerback there. Latest on maybe his interest with Notre Dame.
Yes, this one was pretty interesting, Trey. He takes his official visit to Tennessee this past weekend and does an interview with VolQuest, our On3, Tennessee website, and says he's done taking visits. And there's even a video interview attached to the article. I'm not going to play it, but you can and you watch the interview, and of course, Blue and Gold first reported that Beasley had scheduled a Notre Dame official visit for the Ohio State game, confirmed it with a source very close to Beasley, and then a source on the Notre Dame side of things, just to make sure, that was all, everyone's kind of on the same page. So that was legit information, right? So Beasley gets asked, hey, like, after your official visit, where do things kind of stand with you? And of course, this is the player who Carr's rankings might befuddle you guys. For me, it's Caleb Beasley, even more so than Carr. Like, this is crazy to me. I just dumbfounded these rankings. I think the guy's absolute freak show. Like, I think he's like a 5-star talent, but it's neither here nor there.
I was going to say 5-star before you pulled up the page. I wasn't 100% sure. Such a talent here.
Yeah. So anyways, the reporter goes, hey, you done? He said, yeah, I'm done taking visits. And then the follow-up question, what about Notre Dame? He said, I don't think I'm taking it. So interesting. But from what I'm gathering, Notre Dame's going to still keep talking to him, and Beasley is going to still keep responding. So, we talked about before, I can't remember if it was on this show or my show with Hyde, where we were discussing Notre Dame's whole official visit policy of, if you're committed to us and you take an official elsewhere, we don't see you as committed, but also if you're committed elsewhere and you don't take, or if you can't take an official here as long as you're committed there. This is why, in my response to that, in the context of Beasley setting up an official with Notre Dame as a commit, was there's so many different things that could happen here that we're not even going to get an answer to that. Like, Beasley could say, I'm not going to take the official, or he could decommit. there's just so many different little things here. So Beasley just not taking the trip was one of those things, but also from what I'm told, Notre Dame is going to keep working on him. I think this is what Notre Dame is doing when Caleb Beasley says, "I'm not going to take an official to Notre Dame." La 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 la. I can't hear you. They're just going to act like it just didn't even. He didn't even say it. And they're just going to keep working on him. In terms of what I'm hearing on Beasley, from a Notre Dame standpoint, it's mixed. Some people feel pretty optimistic. Some believe it's going to be pretty difficult to flip him from Tennessee, to put it lightly. So if you have like optimistic to flip to he's not going to come here, I'm probably like, closer to this end. I'm probably like, leaning that he's probably going to stick with Tennessee. But Notre Dame loves him to death, and they're going to work on him as long as that door is even cracked open. Or even if it's shut, if it's not locked, with a deadbolt, they're going to try to break it. Like they're going to try to pick the lock. So Notre Dame's going to keep working here.
I know you're leaning, but don't fall over, Mike. There's still hope. And we'll see. This is a talented cornerback here. And I'm kind of with Jay. I think he does end up visiting at some point as well. Notre Dame's not going to give up. I think we had some questions in here. I see one from
Trey. I need to do my run. I'm going to do my rundown through the board real quick.
All right, let's do it. Cornerbacks.
Give me like 2 minutes. I'm going to run down the 2024 board.
You're on the clock. No. Take as much time as you need here, Mike. This has kind of been our 2024 safety episode, or I guess 2024 episode in general, as we wrap up this huge month for the class. So just give us the rundown.
Quarterback, they're done. CJ Carr's locked in. Running back, done. Aeneas Williams, Kedron Young. If Dylan McCullough were to leave, like he has such a strong relationship with those two guys that would be tough. But as long as Dylan's here, Kedron Young, Aeneas Williams, completely locked in. Wide receiver, I would probably say the same thing with Isaiah Canyon. I mean, given that he and Stuckey are from the same hometown, like I think it was like a relative of Canyon coached Stuckey when Stuckey was playing Little League Baseball or something like that. But otherwise, you got Canyon, you got Mike Gilbert, you got Cam Williams. They're locked in. Tight end, Jack Larson, and then this guy on the screen, they're in pursuit of Carter Nelson, visiting Nebraska this weekend. I hear Notre Dame, Georgia, but Nebraska, you go visit your home state school with your last OV pretty soon before you're wanting to make an official visit. Nebraska's going to really be able to put the squeeze on him this weekend. Too close for me to call at this point. So it looks like Jack, it looks like the tight end from Charlotte, Larson, or him and Larson and Carter Nelson. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to go as quick as I can.
Please take your time.
Yeah, but I'm trying to do this as a quick YouTube video as well afterwards. I'm trying to. Anyways, so you have Larson, and then it's Nelson or bust for a second tight end. Offensive tackles kind of offensive line is in a similar situation as tight end, where you have your guys committed, and then you're just going after that one big fish. And that one big fish is Kirby Lambert, the guy on our thumbnail of this video. I've been digging a lot on Kirby Lambert. I had a huge Lucky Charms article that you can check out yesterday. The tidbit I will share for you guys is he was going to go to Penn State this weekend for an official visit and is now going to Harvard instead. Yeah. How often do you see this 5-star type talent in general go to Harvard instead of Penn State for an official visit? That just kind of goes to show you what kind of young man Kirby Lambert is with his strong academics. I like Notre Dame here. Someone said in the chat earlier, evidently Kirby Lambert had a really good visit to Ohio State. I heard not. I heard that he wasn't blown away with Ohio State. I've heard that he absolutely loves Boston College. And then I hear he's not impressed with Boston College. But the consistent thing I keep hearing is how much Notre Dame looks to be the front runner here. So, yeah, while Boston College, has the big factor of being local, and Lambert's left the state of Massachusetts, I think, once or twice now for college visits. He went to Ohio State and Notre Dame. I still like Notre Dame, even though Boston College has that local factor. Of course, on switching over to the defensive side of the ball, you got Justin Scott and Elijah Rushing. Rushing trending elsewhere at this point, probably ends up at Oregon, but I don't see him landing up at Notre Dame. Justin Scott. Someone asked, let me find this really quick. Any chatter on Justin Scott coming to Notre Dame for an unofficial? I believe at the end of July, that's going to be a huge recruiting period for Notre Dame. July 30th is going to be their big barbecue recruiting event. Notre Dame would absolutely love to have Justin Scott on campus for that. They're working on it. Keep an eye on blueandgold.com for that as we look to confirm that visit. But again, it's really just Justin Scott or Elijah Rushing in terms of adding another defensive lineman to the 2024 board. Rushing likely to go elsewhere. Scott, put a gun in my head, I'll guess Notre Dame, but I mean, Miami, Georgia, Michigan. I mean, it's close to call. Ohio State. Linebacker position, Notre Dame could end up taking 2 more. Haven't heard a lot on Bradley Shaw, the linebacker from Hoover, Alabama, since his visit to Notre Dame, which I raved about from what sources were telling me. Heard it went very, very well. But otherwise, don't have a ton new to report. Believe there was rumblings that he took an official to Arkansas this month after Notre Dame, but can't confirm that yet. But and then you of course have Kingston Viliamuasa, who visited for his official last week. I do like where the Irish stand. He's visited USC June 9th, goes to Ohio State this weekend, and of course is at Notre Dame this past weekend. Do like where the Irish are at, but kind of a theme here with a lot of these recruits is that multiple sides of the recruitment all feel confident that they're going to get him. USC thinks they're getting him. Notre Dame does. So does Ohio State. I'll roll with Notre Dame, but it's too close to call. And then, of course, Beasley, the Tennessee commit who Notre Dame would love to flip. He said recently that he is likely not going to take that official to Notre Dame, but don't tell the Irish staff that because they are going to keep working on him. To try to get him on campus for the official for the Ohio State game. That was not 3 minutes. That was about 5, but we'll take it, Trey.
It's perfect. That'll still make for a great video. Like that one, like this this show, you've not done so already. Thank you for the rundown there, Mike. We got to take a look at the whole board as we near the end of the month of June. Always cool to look at where everything stands. Not giving up on Caleb Beasley. Cool to hear about Gerby Lambert as well. I think Harvard, 5-star education for a 5-star type talent there. So guys, go check out everything at blueandgold.com because we have videos like that you're going to see repurposed later on, but stuff just breaking down everything going on in this class, everything going on with the team side of things as well. And what is up, Michael? Happy Friday, man. Always great to see you.
Time for a few questions?
Yeah, I think we got time for a few here. We got some starred in the comments section.
Yeah, queued up a few that I like. So I can
and Ryan Toussaint. Let's get it started here. I love the emojis. This is a pretty comment.
Yeah, bring on the emojis.
Do you believe the Irish bump works both ways? Low-ranked players soon to get bumped to high 3 stars, low 4 stars, but a 5-star commit then bumps down to a mediocre 4. Is that a thing?
It's not, do I believe it? It's, this is true. But it's not an Irish bump. It's not like, oh, you commit to Notre Dame, we're raising you. Oh, you commit to Notre Dame, you're bumped down. I'm telling you guys, for at least for on 3. I did tell the story about when I was working at the old place that I was told a Notre Dame commit was staying a low 4-star and they wanted to drop him to a 3 because they kept him higher because he was a Notre Dame commit, specifically at the position he was committed at. So that has happened before, but I'm telling you guys, it's not at on 3. And if I felt it was, like I told you earlier, I'd just keep my mouth shut. But yeah. Like, look, there's going to be guys who at on 3 get ranked lower than the other websites. And that's the ones that you guys are going to tell me about all the time. I see it in the mentions on Twitter. But no one's going to talk about Styles Prescott being ranked significantly higher than everyone else, to my knowledge. Or Keidron Young. No, we're not going to talk about that. We're just talking about CJ Carr all damn day long on Twitter. Kane Williams, I think on 3, ranked as a borderline 5-star guy, so much higher or so much earlier than everyone else. We don't really talk about that though. So yeah, like the 5-star discussion, Emil Wagner, Jalen Sneed, Charles Jagasaw. 5 stars for on 3. Don't think any other website has those guys as a 5-star. So just miss me with the whole on 3 hates Notre Dame crap. It's ridiculous. But I know I'll just keep hearing. I'll keep seeing those comments. But for the 135 people watching right now, you can miss me with that crap. We'll continue.
It's Twitter too, right? I mean, come on, that's how it goes.
It's yeah. That's true.
Not cool. Miss him with it, guys. Let's get to cousin Luke. Any backup plans? If Carr bails?
He's not bailing.
What if he bails?
He's not.
What if he does?
Then you come up with a backup plan at that point. Listen, my lovely wife could get up. I just heard the front door open, right? She could be leaving and driving to the airport to get on a plane to Australia. She could. She could.
2 families.
But I'm not coming up with a backup plan in case my wife leaves me because it's not going to happen. You know? Yeah. So why you're not going to come up with a backup plan if Carr bails? Because he's not.
Fair enough. CJ Carr, committed. Let's act like it. Andrew Gilmore, what commits do we need to monitor in terms of flipping? I guess we kind of continue with the same thought here.
Another good comment from Andrew. Yeah, Canyon got bumped. I believe pretty significantly higher than the Hillman was a huge guy. Notre Dame committed to Notre Dame and got a big bump. Yeah, here's Isaiah Canyon. On 3 as the number 95 player in the country. Look at it, Rivals. I hope you guys are tweeting at the Rivals and 24/7 Notre Dame guys to tell them, give them crap about Isaiah Canyon's rankings. So it's just not me. Actually, don't do that. But anyways, the only commits that I'm concerned about, and I say this now, and there's always unexpected decommits. Like this just always happens. But it really, for me, would just be about coaches leaving, like I talked about. Canyon and Dylan McCullough have done such a good job that if they do leave, you're very worried. Like some of the different, like quarterback, CJ Carr is such a Notre Dame locked-in guy that even though he wavered a little bit, you weren't super concerned about him. When Reese leaves, offensive line, it doesn't matter who's the coach. That group will be fine. And then you move over to the defensive side of the ball. I wouldn't be worried about any of those guys, to be completely honest with you. So my only concern would be Dylan and Stuckey leaving and what happens with those receivers.
Yeah, going to be fun to follow there as well. We got time for one more, Mike. I see Michael getting his question in here.
Do I ever anticipate coming to Pennsylvania to see any? They've gone into Pittsburgh and they've gone into Philly, but it's just never been like for me to take trips like big time targets at positions of value. Like I really wanted to go to Pittsburgh. My whole family's from Pittsburgh. My uncle runs a golf course up there, but it's just been like linebackers and defensive linemen, Donovan Hinish. So it's just like wasn't really make sense. I'd rather go see a quarterback or receiver or something. I would love to go up to Pennsylvania. I haven't been to PA since I was a kid, and again, went up there a ton as a kid. So I will. I'll definitely let you know. I'll definitely let you know, and I'll get a big steak dinner on you.
Go hit up the 412. Go get some Permane Bros.
Yeah,
best ballpark in America, huh?
And if Chris Hemsworth hits my wife up, I will tell her to pack her bags. And it's just not going to happen, So, I do love the what if game, so.
One more quick one here. You have the obsession with Taco Bell. Panda Express is my go-to in the fast food realm. Love Panda, quick, efficient, and delicious. I just love Asian food in general. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Mike, any last thoughts here as we begin to wrap it up?
I love you guys. I appreciate the great viewership all the time. As I always say, whether it's me, Tim Hyde, Goolsby, we could get on here. We know what you guys want to hear. We know it. We know what the popular takes would be, but we're going to speak our mind. So if that is, for the lack of a better term, defending on 3 about rankings you don't like, and again, I don't like it either, but there's a proper outlook to have on these things. And I'm going to tell you guys, we don't do this show to impress other journalists or to make us look smart. Like, we do this for you guys, and I want to make you guys smarter, more well-informed Notre Dame fans. And how I can do that is through recruiting. I'm not breaking down film for you guys. I'll leave that to Hyde and Gouldsby. But with my knowledge of covering recruiting, I like to give you guys that perspective. And then we have shows with Hyde and Gouldsby to get their perspective as well, to make you guys smarter Notre Dame fans. So yeah, I appreciate you guys for joining our shows all the time to take in that perspective, and hopefully it's entertaining as well. So yeah, that's my thoughts to sign off.
Yeah, well said. Getting sentimental here on this Friday afternoon. Thank you, Matthew. Love being with you live. Thank you to everybody that joins us every week, gets in the comments, and is a part of our family here at Blue and Gold. Subscribe, guys. Join it if you're not already. And continue to let us know. Keep coming back. We will be back next Friday for more Notre Dame football recruiting updates. But until then, for Mike Singer, my name is Trey Ennedy. Have a great weekend, everybody. Let's go Fighting Irish.